Hello, everybody. What's up? It's Gina Ifowe, the one and only African superstar, back at it again. What's up, family? I'm back to talk about this topic. The topic just keeps giving. It just keeps giving. It's a big topic and affecting a lot of people in our community. So let's go ahead and talk about it. First, shout outs to the customers of the AfricanSuperstar.com. Much love to all of you shopping with us for almost 4 good years. It will be 4 years on November 1st of 2023. Yes. Also, shout outs to our members only who are designated by the circle next to their name. Much love to you. And last but not least, all of the lovers and supporters of the African Superstar Music Project. Those of you guys streaming, those of you guys that have purchased the music, those of you guys enjoying the music, coming out to the shows here in London, much love to you. Today, I want to talk about yet another aspect of this that I haven't really properly addressed, which is the Western diaspora. We know that the Western diaspora, especially Americans, very emotional about everything that goes on. And, this issue of romance scams is very sensitive for them because in many cases, they've moved to the continent. They're now living in Africa and, they've started dating. A lot of women have become victims so far. You know, I'm led to believe that it's affecting more women than men on the continent because more Black women are heading to Africa than Black males. Black males are heading elsewhere, and or when they do come and settle on the continent, they're already with their families and, their spouses and all of that. The thing is that this is not something that is unique to per se, like, let's say the Black American. This is not just for the Black American. This happens to any and all Westerners interacting with the third world. Okay, so this happens when people go to Mexico. This happens when people go to Asia. This happens in Latin America as well as Africa. I assume it probably happens in the Middle East. The global perception is that the West is a superpower. Okay. The global perception is that America is like the place to be, the land of opportunity, American dream. All these things have really, really been drilled into nations around the world. I think it's more modern day that the world is getting to see a lot more of what goes on in America from day to day. But I would say this is something that's relatively new. Let's say within the last decade. I know when I moved to the UK in 2017, for instance, a lot of the people I were encountering was completely shocked that I would choose to live in UK compared to America. They were just like, wow, I thought America would be better. I thought America was this. I thought America was that. And so there's this perception of like, if you live in America or whatever, it's the place to be. Second of that would probably be European countries. Okay, so any European countries, especially English speaking, that's where a lot of folks from the third world want to go. So that means they'll use anybody. So the topic of this video is a Ghanaian man says the diaspora shouldn't take romance scams personal because they are also scamming Ghanaians as well. The reality is we're not the only people that are affected. Foreign-born Africans are going through this. Africans of other nations. I see Tiger's comment in here, and naturally, if you have a run-in, you have an experience with someone from a particular country, you have a failed relationship. I don't know her situation, but you will definitely take it personal and say things like this. But the reality is it's happening everywhere. It's happening all across the continent. It happens in the Caribbean. It happens in Latin America. It happens everywhere. I think probably because this is the mass migration of Black Westerners to Africa and to the international community. We're getting versed in it now currently. We've known that it happens, for instance, on American soil. We know it happens in England. We know it happens in Germany. You meet people that are living there that are not situated. Okay. They don't have their documents or whatever the case may be. They're trying to marry you. They're trying to, these things even happen in your environment wherever you are. But I think there seems to be a context of, oh, I'm now living in Ghana, so this isn't on the table. People want access to your immigration no matter where you go. Okay. And it's happening also to, like I said, foreign born Africans, also Africans that have migrated, and sometimes it's the long game because people are going to be willing to play the long game. They can invest years, they can invest money, they can get their family and friends on board. People, unfortunately, people can exercise a lot of energy into a facade. I believe in investing energy into the substance so that you can be genuine, so that you can be valid. But some people put all the effort into the facade of their life, who they want to be, who they portray, to the point that they can actually, mask these things for years. And so we, as the diaspora, need to understand it's not just us. Okay. It's not just Africa. It's not just Ghana. It's not just Nigeria or Kenya, Senegal, wherever you've been. Okay. If you go, I know way back in the days, I got a story for y'all. Let's see who's in the chat room. Hello. Are you guys on code? We got 10 of you. Please make sure you like the stream, support the stream. Yes. If you like this series of topics that I've been on, please do alert me. If you're coming for the playback, please do alert me. What's up? What's up? What's up, family? Who's in the chat room? Tuko Pumajoa says, I'm back after a long hiatus. Welcome. And it's good to see you there. What's up, guys? Hello. Hi, Kimla. Big shout outs to you. Nee Amu says there's a love scam in America, Canada, UK. Absolutely. We have this habit of trying to magnify one situation over the next. Okay, the person who got love scammed in Turkey is no different than the person who got love scammed in Kenya. Okay, we are sensitive, and so when it happens to us, we're just like, oh my gosh, I got played by another African. I got played by a Black person, and it hurts. It always hurts. I believe, in my opinion, it hurts so much when it's been done by like a reflection. Diasporans are coming to the continent because they want to be in Africa. They want to reconnect. Obviously, we have the rogue diasporans that are coming for their other erroneous reasons. But, a lot of us, we're coming for that premise. So the last thing we want to do is move to Africa and then find ourselves being, used or whatever by someone there. But the reality is it's on the table. The reality is on the table. They're not willing to just, if we're there, they'll use us. If it's a British, British Ghanaian, they'll use them. If it's a white, they'll use them. If it's a mixed race, they'll use them. They'll use what means they have if that's their goal and objective. Okay? And you shouldn't take it personal. It's not like they went and sought out you. They were like, nah, okay, I don't want Gina. I don't want Tiger. I want Kim. That's who I want to do this to. I want to inflict this to. No, they're looking for basically the mule. They're looking for the goat. They're looking for the opportunity. If you make it easy for them, they're going to exploit it. Period. What's up, family? Nee says Africans do not see color Black when it comes to humans. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Big shout outs. Anita's there. She's the grammar police. We can call it whatever we want to call it. They're identified as the third world countries. And guess what? When I said third world countries, I bet you knew exactly what I was referring to. But we can call them whatever you want to call them. These countries that are developing nations, it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing, honey. But I feel you. I understand. So this topic, this is part of a series of the conversation that got started yesterday. Sister Y'all posted on her status about, hearing about a lot of these love scams that are going on and blah, 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 blah. And how, virtually the members of the diaspora need to be on their block. They need to be very vigilant. You know what I mean? And using common sense. And I understand that, I know because I actually have migrated to the continent. So I know the sensation of, and for many people, it's a process of planning. It may take a long time. It may be very expensive for you. It may be very involved and things like that. You finally get to the point where you've been able to make this transition and you just want to settle down. If love or relationships is one of your objectives or family is one of your objectives, that's what you want to achieve. And so when you get there, your guards might be down. You might just be like, okay, if you meet somebody compatible, you feel, and naturally, I would say I got to give it to the African men because they know how to sweet talk you if they want something from you. They know how. They know how to make you feel special and all those things that, is going to make you sensitive to them. And so you meet this character when you get there. Your guards might be down. This is what you've been waiting for. This is what you've been anticipating. And then, all I can say is this is not something that is uniquely affecting, for instance, the American diaspora, the British diaspora. It's a more broader situation, I would say, between Westerners and, as Anita calls it, developing nations. Because women in the Philippines are doing the same thing. Women in Brazil, men in Brazil, men in it goes on everywhere. And there is actually a series, I mentioned it on one of the live streams recently called, I believe it's called Love Rats. And it's a series out of the UK. And it talks about primarily British women traveling to other nations. I know they've been to like Turkey. They've definitely gone to West Africa. They've been to, was it maybe the Middle East? Maybe I don't know. They've had a lot. It's a full series. There's lots of episodes. Black women, white women, going to these countries, having holidays, going to Spain, going to, all these European countries or whatever. And same situations. And I think if you verse yourself on these topics, that also helps you in being able to identify some of the red flags, because you'll begin to see, okay, these are some of the behaviors, these are some of the scams, these are some of the lines they use, these are some of the things that people begin to exhibit when that is their goal. And I do want to also preface, because naturally our people love to take a minority and they love to blow it up, to try to combat the majority. I know very well that there are successful intercultural marriages, intertribal marriages, all of that kind of thing, indeed. But unfortunately, these scams are overshadowing those things, because for every few, successful marriages, there are dozens of people encountering these scams. And that's what, Sister Yah was talking about. So this title is from her husband. Her husband said, hey, diasporians, they got to be careful what they do. It's not just them. It's not like, oh yeah, the Black Americans are here, let's go get them. The Black British are here, let's go get them. The Canadians are here, let's go get them. It's like, yo, my goal is to get out of here. This opportunity has fallen into my lap. You've got to do your due diligence to protect yourself against that. And I personally would advise you to know your new home. I'm someone who moved to Ghana because I literally love Ghana. You know what I'm saying? I love Ghana. I love so many different elements of Ghana. Obviously, the people is one of the things I love. The men is one of the things I love. The nightlife, the weather, the food, so many elements. But I love Ghana to the premise that I didn't move there for a partner. Some of you guys, that is your main objective. You don't know anything about the country you're going to. You may not even like it. And here you are, you've put a lot on the line for maybe this individual and it's not working out. And now here you go, you're stuck. Because, I'd say it can be a factor as to why you want to move, but it shouldn't be the sole reason. Realistically, ladies, it shouldn't be the sole reason. Yeah, it shouldn't be the sole reason because that's a whole lot of gambling. Okay, let me see what you guys are having in the comments. Big shout outs to the family, guys. Please make sure you like the stream. We got 14 of you here. Let's see what's up, family. Big shout outs to the family. Let's see here. Superstar Bella's in the room with our mission statement. Moderators, please, please, please be on your block. Anybody with the ranch, you know what time it is. Nia Moo says there is a love scam among Black Americans in America. There is a love scam among different races in North America. I face it all the time and I'm on my guard all times. Absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing. That's the thing that it is frustrating at times about our people because it's like, guys, it's not like you are being singled out. I know that it's frustrating. I know that, in particular, Black Americans have a lot of emotional issues, and a lot of it's valid because they've been totally mistreated. The system is against them. They face a lot of racism. They face a lot of violence. I get it. I really do, But at some periods, you do have to take a more aerial view at the situations you're encountering and ask yourself, why do certain things occur? For instance, i.e., okay, when I moved to the UK, a lot of the people that I met, the place I lived was, Northampton. I was living it's probably close to an hour and 30 minutes outside of London. Okay. Now, a lot of the people, international people that come to the UK, they live in the major cities, Manchester, Birmingham, and definitely in London. And, so where I was living in Northampton, anywhere I go, and they hear me talk and they hear the American accent, they're like, oh my God, you're from America. Like I really stood out in that respect. I spoke to a lot of the Black people living here. Some of them are Caribbean, some of them are Africans. And, they kindly told me they've never actually met a Black American before. Okay. They've never seen a Black person from America yet, in person, only on television or whatever. And it was so interesting because they had a lot of conceptions about Black Americans, what they thought I would like and what they thought I would be like. And I could have got all emotional about it, but I realized that it wasn't me. It wasn't me, Gina, as an individual, that they were drawing these conclusions. They were drawing these conclusions based off of association. And that's what I'm saying to the diaspora is that we're going to encounter things in Africa. It's not you as an individual that they are targeting. Okay. They might be targeting your association. In some cases, they don't even know who you are when they meet you. They might just see you around. For other people, it's very obvious, the way they carry on in public, the way they dress, maybe their physical stature. There are things that will make you immediately be seen as a foreigner, an American, whatever. But, when these things happen, like if you know the nature of where many people are coming from on a continent, what their perspectives are about the West and how eager they are to travel, then you would realize that they would use any vehicle that they got access to. Big shout outs. This is a good point as well. Superstar Bella says people are lonely. This is a vulnerability that has always been exploited. Again, nothing synonymous with the continent. People have always exploited lonely people, with promises and this and that and the other, and that's another thing. Like, is this something new to 2023? No, this has been going on. This has been going on for time. And like I talked about last night, there's a reason why people have these stereotypes. People have these stereotypes about, for instance, intercultural marriage, because it does happen sometimes. You know, if people weren't marrying for papers and using people and having kids for papers and deceiving people, we wouldn't hear those rumors. If there weren't sob stories, we wouldn't hear them. If it wasn't something that's happening right now, it wouldn't keep being revisited. It's happening right now, modern day, you know? And so that's why I raise it, because naturally what my platform is here to do is to help you guys with your transition the best as possible and avoid a lot of things. I feel like prevention is better than cure. So avoiding finding yourself in certain situations, having certain situations is better than dealing with the aftermath. You know, I think at our stage in the game, when you move to Africa, by the time you've moved to Africa, you don't want any kind of significant setbacks. You've already kind of faced that getting there. You kind of want to hit the ground and run, whatever that means. If it means relationship, if it means business, if it means getting settled and all that stuff, you don't want to delay. So in order to make that a reality, you have to avoid particular pitfalls. Don't be emotional because they're going to try it, because they're going to try it. They're going to try it. And you know they're going to try it before you even get there. Or you should. You should know they're going to try it before you get there. And that these efforts can come in many different ways. But there are some telltale signs of situations that you can avoid. Big shout outs to the family. What's up? What's up? What's up? Nia Moo says there are white people who go to the Gambia, for instance, to exploit the men, especially. Absolutely. A lot of British people specifically go to the Gambia for sex tourism. You know, you can look these things up on YouTube or find articles. It's very well published. Sex tourism, it's a thing. People from the West go to developing nations for this premise. They've always been doing it because they know, hey, my money's going to go further. I'm going to seem like the big man, the big woman. You know, I can live in a type of way that I can't necessarily live in the West. And so they go. I can't tell you how many, you know, for instance, white folks. I see these stories all the time. They move to Mexico. They move to South America. You know, they take those American dollars, take those pounds, and go live in the exotic lands. You know, and someone who didn't even register on the scale in the West. Nobody paid them no mind. They suddenly are the rich man or the rich woman in town wherever they're choosing to go. Black Beauty always says, scams come in many forms. I was just notified by my credit union that someone tried to use my credit card. This is not the first time. What's up, African Wahala? It's good to see you. Big shout outs to you. TK is with us. She says, I'm not taking it personally either. Spending all your CDs, then flying back to the States to complain. You know, and that's something else that we can illuminate, which is it ain't tricking if you got it. If you want some passport bro stuff, if you want some passport girl stuff, hey, that's fine. But I would say this message is for those of you guys who are like matrimony, you know, family and kids. That's what you on. Then you need to screen these people. If you're just going having fun, tricking, you're going for the holiday season, just want a little somebody keep you company on your holiday trip, I'm not knocking you. Be careful though. Be careful out there. Protect yourself regardless, because you don't know who you're dealing with, you know. But yeah, go for it. Chantel says, seems to me all races of people are emotional. I don't know, Chantel. I think our people really top the cake. I really, really do. I think we really top the cake. We're so emotional sometimes. It prohibits our ability to make strategic action. There are problems that we could begin to alleviate if we start focusing on them, but we just want to keep on going back to the source of the problem, the existence of the problem, instead of the solution of the problem. You know what I mean? And case in point, we know that this thing goes on, right? We know this goes on. TK said, I'm not taking it personal. Me, I'm not taking it personal. I know I've talked to, you know, Kimla. You know, a lot of us have been confronted with these situations. Some of us have experienced these situations. Do we slam Ghana? Do we slam Nigeria? Do we slam the whole Africa? Do we stop interacting with them? Do we? No. Because at the end of the day, people are going to try it. People are going to try it. People would try it anywhere. If anybody saw you and they knew, okay, this person is new. This person is ignorant to the situation. This person is new in town, or this person doesn't know how it goes. Even if you're in the office, big shout outs to any corporate folks. When you're new and you come to the office and they be giving you the extra assignments, they put you in the most undesirable ward. They give you the crap schedule. Huh? It's kind of a part of the game, really, unfortunately. When you're new and you don't know any better, people do take advantage of that. And this is why, we can look on YouTube and see, probably at this point, thousands of videos of diasporans making complaints about the continent, making complaints about situations that have happened on the continent. Some of these things are to be anticipated, but I don't necessarily see, maybe it could just be that we don't see the emotional aspect of all the other races because it's not really published out there. But our people are really, really emotional, like, in my opinion, big shout outs. Because honestly, the non black people, they don't be caring. They be savage as hell. They are savage. If they care, I don't know. Superstar Bella says the American media is massive. Man, if you guys could just see what it's like, for those of you guys that have not traveled extensively or things like that, it's unbelievable what people think America is like. I remember meeting a new Cameroonian when they first came to Columbus. This was probably like 2014, 13, 14. She told me she was so convinced that nobody took the bus in America. Like, everybody had cars because, what she had always seen on TV, everybody was driving their personal cars. Having cars, on the continent in some places is really seen to be like a luxury. It's an expensive item and things like that, especially if you have like a luxury car. Mercedes is a big deal. And so, they have the perception that, oh, there's not public transit. There's no buses, there's no trains. Like, everybody has their own cars. I remember I saw a clip from this Zimbabwean comedian probably just a couple months ago. And he said that he was shocked when he came to New York and he saw homeless white people because it never occurred to him that white people could be homeless, and not in America. So these are the perceptions that people have of the West. And I think to a certain degree, it's natural that you will romanticize, so if you have faults or grievances where you are, you think to yourself, okay, well, I'm having all these problems in Ghana. When I get to America, it's so much better. When I get to the UK, it's so much better. When I get to Germany, it's so much better. Even those of us that moved to the continent, in our mind, we were expecting all the positives. And when we got there, we definitely encountered some negative things. We definitely encountered things we weren't familiar with, didn't know, things like that. I'm pretty sure some of you guys, the first time you came to the continent and you started experiencing maybe power outages, the rough roads, the poor network in some places, things like that. Outages with, like your Wi-Fi goes down for the whole day. These kind of things, you're not really accustomed to that. In the West, you're not accustomed to any of that. So you begin to get a realization when you're in a place that, oh, these are the downsides to it. Big shout outs. What's up, guys? Eric says educating our people on a global level should be part of the curriculum in schools. Up. Now, Eric, they don't want us to know. Come on, if we knew, we would make different decisions. They need us to be the way that we are. The way that we are is the way they want us to be. Trust me. And they're, these Western, at least I can say in America, they have been, strategically dumbing down the curriculums over these past couple decades. Even subjects that were in school when I was in school not that long ago, are now obsolete because they don't want you to have critical thinking skills. They don't want you to be a leader or entrepreneur. They don't want you to do trades. Okay. They don't want you to rebel against this whole system of slavery that we're in. They want us to have as little recourse as possible to fight the system. So that requires imputing as little as they can in us. You can see these foreign countries like Asian countries. I mean, it's so competitive in their schools. They're teaching their kids all these things. They learn classical music. They can speak multiple languages. They're learning STEM, robotics. You think America doesn't see that these countries that's what they're instilling in their youth? They absolutely know what's going into their youth, but they're not interested in making us marketable, and they certainly don't want people on the continent to be marketable, because that would really get in their way if the middleman was eliminated, which they are the middleman in manufacturing, exports, and all this kind of stuff. Big shout out to Eric. That's an ideal wish. Yes. Chantel says, it is what it is. If the FBI is cracking down on such scam, it's clearly affecting people in a negative way. So we can't dismiss the true facts. It is what it is, like she says. It is what it is. If you want to be, because I see from this particular topic, the people that like to get overly emotional are people that have become victims or people that may be engaged in those situations right now. And they know it's questionable. Okay. The red signs are there, but they don't want to acknowledge it. So they lash out. No, it's not true. My man is, my man is like this. No, she really loves me. She's not using me for papers. Okay. For all of that, and I really hope and wish that it is working out, because it does work out for some people. It does work out for some people. And I hope that you don't become a casualty. But all we're trying to say here is that the probability is high that it could be a questionable situation. And you should be aware when engaging in these kind of situations. And if you're seeing red signs, you got to see the red signs. It's better for you now to deal with the red signs of his or her questionable behavior, then continue to invest time, get in deep, get married to them, file papers, keep spending money, do their visas, blah, blah, blah. It's better for you to nip it in the bud before it gets to that point. Because that interior feeling that you're having is valid. Chantel says she was listening to Dinah's stream yesterday, and he and another guy said that sometimes you have to get cross the border on a motorcycle with your luggage on a bumpy road. There's a lot that goes on with your African life sometimes. I've never personally been in that situation, no, but yeah, I don't doubt it, because Dinah's be out in the villages. He be really doing da 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 da. Chantel says, did the person know this info beforehand? Because I consider that a scam. Some people do, some people don't. I don't know, babe. I don't know. I mean, in some cases, people are very elaborate with what they're doing, but in a lot of cases, they're not. They make mistakes. It's quite obvious, and it is what it is. TK says, nothing will make me dislike the continent. There are some jokers that will have you blasting Liar 2022 all day. Big shout outs. T. Kelly, big shout outs to the African superstar music lovers. For those of y'all that don't know, Liar 2022 is one of my tracks released from last year, 2022. And yes, it is a banger, and it's about a liar. It's about a liar that I met in Ghana. Hello. It's about a liar and opportunist that I met in Ghana. Yes, big shout outs. What's up? To be clear, I meant when you go to Africa through their services, you can end up having to cross the border on motorcycle after paying the border patrol. Like I said, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that it can go down. I not had to go through that personally, but I mean, and just anything. You might be getting there thinking you're getting something, your expectations, for instance, hotels, like you're expecting, okay, you booked a 4-star hotel, 5-star hotel, you get there and you see, oh, the standard is different, things like that. I mean, it's an experience. And I think the diaspora should stop negatively seeing those things. It's a part of your migration. Understanding that you're moving to a new country, you are experiencing a new culture. It's not going to be America. It's not going to be England. A lot of times people are constantly comparing that Western lifestyle to whatever's happening on the continent. And, the West has exploited Africa. And that's why they were able to build themselves in the way that they have. Our nations have not exploited any other nations. Our nations have not held slave labor to build their nations. The advantages that the West has taken to put themselves where they are currently, to establish their infrastructure. A lot of their infrastructure is even old, especially here in England. Extra old. These things were done a long time ago, and that's been able to allow them to compound and build their nations up and stuff. So, when we come and compare, Ghana, compare Nigeria, even though, don't get me wrong, a lot of nonsense happens with these African governments, misallocation of funds, a complete neglect of their citizens. A lot of that does happen. But at the end of the day, you're comparing apples and oranges when you are doing that, And it wasn't all roses where you were with the top, infrastructure, with roads, with mass transit, all the stuff that you guys expect maybe on the continent. You lived in an environment with all those things, and it still was problematic in different ways. So it's about your perspective to be able to appreciate it. And I'm so grateful to be able to go to the continent and live on the continent and have a refuge from this environment. I'm so grateful, and even if you strike out in romantic things, okay, you strike out in romantic things, the probability of you winning is still high on the continent because of the population. You have so much more to choose from. If you're like me and you don't even deal with non-Black men, then there's a plethora of options for you. On any given day here in England, I may see maybe one guy or 0 guys that I would even think is, catch my attention, right? On any given day in Ghana, everywhere you look, you can go sit down at a crowd mall, get a coffee, get a tea, whatever, sit there, people watch. You can go to the gym, you can go to the beach, you can go to the party, you can go to the pub. You're going to see your people constantly around you. And, that gives you the options of meeting people, meeting acquaintances and things like that. So the probability of you connecting with maybe your taste is still higher on the continent, hands down. Kimla says being taken advantage of definitely happens everywhere, but when you have that American passport, you're going to get tried faithfully. It's best to be aware and not take it personal. Nia Moo says in Ghana, the majority of people are Black, so do not expect them to see you as a Black person in Ghana. The FBI cannot stop love scam. It comes down to the individual to make informed decisions. Big shout outs. Chantel says, but shouldn't we expect Africans to seek monies from us considering they're poor and consider us rich? I would expect it. They do. I would like to say, first of all, in Ghana, a lot of people have money, but they pretend they don't have money. The reason they pretend they don't have money is because since it's such a communal place, when you have something, other people have it. It's one of the reasons if you're around African communities, if they eat, I don't think I've ever been around an African person from the continent that has eaten food and not offered me food. Like, they will not come. In the West, it's popular. We get our food and we just eat it. I've never encountered an African who will prepare food, come sit down next to me, and not offer me to eat. That is kind of the perception. It's communal. So basically, that means if you're rich, then the people around you are going to be expecting you to look after them. So a lot of people will feign riches because they don't want, everybody to chop. But definitely they think you got it to spend. They definitely think you're privileged. They definitely think you have excess and so on and so forth. And so, yeah, they're going to come at you with that because of that perception, right? Like I said, they believe you got it to give. So it's no big deal. When they see their own people, they relate more to them and they say, this person's in a situation with me. I'm not going to charge them the extra money, but those foreigners, they got that extra money. So why not? If I charge her extra 10 CDs, it's not going to break her bank. If I charge a Ghanaian that extra 10 CDs, they may or may not have it. But I definitely want to dispel that myth. They're not poor over the continent. There are definitely poor areas, but Ghanaians got money, man. It's a cash and carry society. They got cars that are completely paid off. They got houses that are completely paid off. They're doing business. Sometimes they're sending their kids abroad for university. They can't even get student aid. They have to pay for their tuition. They got money. They got money. Don't get it twisted. You know what I mean? Do not get it twisted. They be doing better than me. They be doing better than me. Shoot. Kimla says, when I go to Africa, I never expect the comforts of America on the continent, and that's what will make your experience a good one. And I'm no way saying that there are no comforts on the continent. Tiger says, not all Africans are poor, and no, we shouldn't expect them to seek money from us. Chantel, you gotta experience it to understand. I think the longer I spend in Ghana, the more things are being made clear to me. And I understand because, for instance, if you're in Africa and people travel, okay, they rarely will alert people that they travel. You may just see them pop up in places, or you may just not see them for a while and they come back. One of the reasons they do this, everybody will be asking, hey, can you pick this up for me, for you to send back. Or they'll ask you, oh, can you take this to somebody wherever you're going? It starts, oh, can you shop for me? It starts becoming a big thing. That's not something we're really familiar with in the West. Okay. If you pick up and say, I'm going to New York this week, your friends ain't all going to say, hey girl, pick me up something, go pick me up this, that, whatever. It's not kind of like a shipping thing, but that's a very real thing in Africa. Even I'm going through it now. I mean, I've never been one to broadcast when I travel, but, people back in Ghana that know that I'm abroad, they'd be asking me, hey, can you pick this up? Oh, my cousin's going to bring this and bring that. Can you bring it? And for very close associates, I will do it. I don't make a habit of it, but I mean, it's just communal. It's just a different thing, and I think also in a society where there's not any social programs and there's no safety net and there's no retirement, the mindset of continually trying to compound is on their mind. You know what I mean? Because you're always going to need money. So if you can make an occasion of getting some today, then get it. Ghanaians are, in my opinion, they can be quite calculated. You know what I mean? They're not the showboat broadcast, what they got going on, but they got it going on. And there are certain times that they're going to flex it out. They want to appear shy. They want to appear like they don't know what's going on, but they do know what's going on. So, Chantel said, do you consider Ghanaians to be overly arrogant or consider themselves the best of all? No, Ghanaians are quite shy, in my opinion. Ghanaians don't really assert themselves, in my opinion. A lot of times I believe it's other people that's promoting the Ghanaians and saying, hey man, you're really good. Hey, you're this, you're that. But as for Ghanaians coming out and saying, yo, I'm the best at this, I'm the biggest bad. I mean, have you ever heard something like that? No. Even when it comes to their country, with all the fanfare, for them to see it, they don't even see it. If you ever come to Ghana and you meet local Ghanaians, they'll be complaining and moaning about Ghana. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard anybody come out like, man, I love Ghana. I ain't never leaving. This is my home. I'm proud. You know, they seem to really magnify all the problems. And they put the West on pedestals, and that's just what I've experienced. That's just what I've experienced. In my opinion, it's a bit different than like the Nigerians. Nigerian people are very, very ambitious and competitive. And they could come out and say, yeah, I'm the best at this. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this. I'm the African giant, like Burna Boy. They have pride. They have cultural pride. They have pride in their contributions. They work really hard. They don't accept mediocrity. They're not shy, and I see the difference between the two. But I mean, I'm not big on the comparison because I think everybody is good at what they are good at. One thing that Ghanaians are amazing at is hospitality. They make everybody feel welcome. They know how to live collectively as a community with people as far as like religious differences. And I mean, there might be little squabbles between tribes, but it's not extreme violence and stuff like that. I mean, it's not like, oh, if you're an Ashanti and you go to the God side of town, like gang activity. It ain't like that. Ghana is calm. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? There's so many positive things about Ghana, despite their challenges. But what I'm talking about in respect to these romance scams ain't even targeted in Ghana. I live in Ghana, but it's something that's happening all across the continent. You know what I'm saying? Like anywhere you go, I think as a Westerner, you need to be aware of this. Even if you are messing around in North Africa, you go to Egypt, you go to Morocco, you go to those kind of places. It's just a thing. It's just a thing. So, in closing, big shout outs to everybody who's left comments. We had a lot of you guys active in the chat today. Much love. Much love. Make sure you guys have liked the stream today. And please subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. If you're enjoying this content, let me know. I'm wrapping up my tour, so very soon I'll be able to return back to Ghana. I'm very much looking forward to that. So, Chantel says, do the African Americans have a community where they gather? There are a lot of diasporan initiatives in Ghana. I don't really engage with them too much, but they're there. I would say if you're interested in diasporan things, you can start with like Facebook groups. There's a lot of Facebook groups of, Americans moving to Africa. There's another group called Blackzit. Black Americans moving to Africa. There's things like that. And they post their events. Sometimes they have meetups. Sometimes they do the holiday. Like I think they had a Juneteenth barbecue. They do stuff like that. But I don't really participate in those things. But yeah, they do meet up. I mean, there's a lot of diasporans in Ghana. There's a lot in Tanzania. I don't know what the climate's like in Nigeria. I know there's a lot in Gambia. There's a lot in Senegal. Probably a lot in South Africa, probably. Niamu says an older person going to Africa and dating someone 10 years or more younger is called what? A person dating a younger person? If it's a woman, they try to call you a cougar if you're dating younger men. If it's a man, it's just accepted to date younger women. But in the defense, some people on the continent are not honest about their age. Sometimes they tell you that they're a different age than they are, and you get to finding out. And I mean, the continent has quite a young population. I believe they said currently over 50% of people on the continent are under the age of 30 right now. So that means the probability of you meeting young people, especially if you're going for like social events, parties, chilling, whatever, the probability of you meeting young people is high. I can't say that's the case, Niamu. Exploitation is targeting people and using them for something like sex tourism. Okay, so like when the Brits go to Gambia and they go look for these guys and they say, hey, you know, you chill with me tonight, I'm going to give you some money, you know, that's exploitation. If you happen to meet someone and they're younger, you're interested in dating, they're interested in dating, you guys are adults, that's not exploitation, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because we wouldn't class a man who's hanging out with a woman who's 10 years younger than her. We don't call that exploitation. And that happens all the time. Big shout out to Kim. Let me see if my phone might need charging. Hold on, let me see. I'll check it in a minute, babe, when I get off. But thank you, Kim. Thank you for the support, babe. It's much appreciated. It's much appreciated. The tour has hit my pockets. Yes. But we did what we came to do. And so that's what is good. Big shout out to the family. I hope you guys are good. Anybody have any last minute comments, or I'm going to wrap up the show now. Thank you for everybody who came in here today and contributed. You guys were quite, thank you, Kim. I got your Cash App. Thank you so much. Thank you, baby. It's very appreciated. Kim sent 40 to the Cash App. Holla. Big shout outs to Kim on that. Yes. So, in closing, I would just say, guys, there's nothing wrong with making your efforts to integrate with our people. Marriages and relationships are one of the primary ways that we can do that. But please be mindful of what you are doing. Okay, please be mindful. Please do as much research as you can. Take your time. Do not ignore the red flags. You know, look for, do your research. If you were meeting someone where you live, you wouldn't just jump into a marriage with them. You wouldn't just start sending them money. Some of you wouldn't even entertain dating maybe younger men where you live in America. So nothing is different when you get over the ocean. You need to still use common sense with whatever you're doing. If you're meeting people online, be extra, extra vigilant, because you don't know. These people create facades. With the technology, you guys seen them AI pictures. People are using technology to manipulate and scam, and it's just a fact. So thank you guys for hearing me out today. Much love to the family. I will be back with you very, very soon. Please, guys, I did put a community tab post there. I'm performing on Saturday, and I want to hear your feedback as to the songs I should do. Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true. One and only, I'm back again. African superstar on the track. It's the weekend, and ain't no place I'd rather be than here with you, and you here with me. Yeah. Got the sauce, boy. It's a beach chill. You ain't gotta lie, come close and keep it real. Swear to God, already know how you feel. It's a beach chill. It's a beach chill. You ain't gotta lie, come close and keep it real. Swear to God, already know how you feel. It's a beach chill.